All right, guys. Well, let's get started, shall we? I have a lot to cover. So we got to start off with the good old, model reveal. Are you guys ready? Are you ready to see finally what the new model looks like? Okay, so you know how it'd be. They got to go from the top. So slowly, you see the nice shoes right there. Pretty cool, right? Looks pretty good. Yeah, but there's the shoes. You like zoom in just like a little bit just to show them off. I really like how the shoes turned out. Um, because like I just really like the detailing and the colors and also just like the star slash snowflake kind of design on the side. Very, very cutesy. We're gonna zoom out a little bit. And now we're gonna show a little bit of the leggy, a little bit of the leggies right there. She got the leg days on, she works out. And then I'm gonna show a little bit more of the leggies. You can see a little bit of my hands. Got some gloves on. She moving a bit. Okay, so now you show a little bit of the more sleeves. You can see my belly button. She's toned, guys. She got some toned stomach going on here. She's very sportsy, okay? Very athletic. And then yeah, my signature like logo slash symbol are these like snowflakes on my sleeves, which again you probably won't get to see a ton of the time, but they're there. So okay, we gotta scroll down a bit more. You can see a bit more of the jacket action, some of the hair, and my booba. My eyes are up here, by the way, guys. Don't stare at my chest too much, okay? Don't stare at my chest too much, okay? Yeah. Uh, but yeah, the last reveal, guys. The last reveal. You're gonna see my whole upper body. Are you ready? Are you ready to see my face? All right, countdown. Three, two, one. Okay, here. There he is. There I am. Hi. Hello. What's up, guys? This is me. Oh my gosh, she's so kawaii. Yes, this is me. This is who I am. I know, aren't I so cute? Let me try and do a neutral expression. Hi. Now, next thing we gotta do is the toggles. All right, so first expression here, guys. Are you ready? This might be a bit of a shocker, but this is my angry face. I don't know when I'll use this really, because, I've never been one to really get angry, but if y'all piss me off, we're gonna have some problems. Who's being a meanie hut junior in the chat? Who's bullying? Let me have a word with them. Who locked in Wrecking Ball when they have a dive comp? Who did this? Who locked in Yumi support? Reveal yourselves. All right, put that back. And next one, we got a little blush action. Ooh. I'm gonna use this one so many times. Yeah, I'm gonna get so embarrassed like so often. Like, oh my gosh. This is gonna be me every time you guys are nice to me. It's like if you compliment me, I will have to just blush all the time. Ooh. All right, that's the second one. And then this is my personal favorite, but it's glasses. For every time when I get into like a very nerdy moment and I have to just like, you know, over explain myself or I'm like geeking out, I'm gonna use the glasses to like, yeah, basically give you a whole like 101 session. Actually, here's the reasons why Overwatch is the best hero shooter in the entire world. Here's why. Next one we got is this one, which is like kind of like a shocked and like confused face. Like, oh, oh, what the? Okay, but the next one we got here is speechless. Like, like when something embarrassing happens, or like if someone says something weird, I'm just like, I don't know how to react to that. This is gonna be me every time y'all say something out of pocket. I'm like, huh? Well, okay, I guess. Or if I just make like a kind of like an oopsie silly moment, like, oop, that one's fun. And then we got the weep. I'm just gonna cry to myself because I'm debuting and it's like so cool. It's so overwhelming. I can't believe it. All the support. It really makes a lot to me. It means so much. I'm a crier, guys. If anything sad happens, I will like sob. All right, the next one. Well, these are more of like just miscellaneous things, which probably not going to use that much, but there's like one that I toggle that I have that like takes the highlight away from my eye, which, it's not really noticeable, but it pops in and then like pops out if I click onto it. Probably not going to use it that much. And then I have like this really, really like crazy one that it might scare you. Gotta zoom in a bit. This is for if I ever do a horror stream, I'll just have my eyes just like completely blank. That's creepy. All right. We got some more toggles left, guys. Okay, so let me zoom out a bit first. The first one I want to show is, my base form. My hands are on my sides, right? But I can also put my hand on my hip like this, kind of based off of my concept art where I have my hand on my hip. So yeah, to be a bit of a, nonchalant baddie, like, just gotta put my hand on my hip. Next one, put my hand back down. All right, now it's time to respectfully strip, okay? So the first thing I want to show is I can actually take off my jacket. So now you can see what it looks like underneath, Yeah, big boob. My eyes are up here, by the way, guys. My eyes are up here. They are up here. Ooh, ooga, awooga. Fine. I will, give you some action here. There you go. See? I know what you want. All right, put that back on. And then the last thing I want to show, y'all keep asking me, do I have polar bear ears or human ears? Well, I have a surprise for you guys. Check this out. I have polar bear ears now. Oh yes, look at that. Look at that. They wiggle a bit when I blink. That's the whole model, guys. How's it look? I think she looks absolutely stunning. Bombshell. Absolute bombshell. I'm obsessed. Thank you. Amazing. Thank you. Boop. Perfect. And one of a kind. No notes. Super cute, hot, and sexy. All right. That's phase 1 down, guys. You know what else we gotta do for VTuber debuts? We gotta show off the lore, okay? My original idea was to make a video, but I didn't have like a lot of time to put it together. So instead, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna like show the lore comic and just do like a live narration. All right. So you should see this Imgur link, yeah. Yes, and I know I'm sharing my desktop right now, but don't worry, I will not share it very for much longer. I just want to show the lore comic here. And I uploaded to Imgur just so that it's easier to like, zoom in and zoom out and stuff like that. So yeah, we're gonna do a live narration, all right? Because, I think it'd just be super fun just to like show it with you all here live on stream. And I'll try to just do it like kind of slow so you can appreciate the beautiful artwork that was created for this. So yeah, let's just get started, okay? So, once upon a time, in a land of snow and ice, a polar bear lived happily with her cubs. They played, they hunted, and slept together in their cozy den. But suddenly, the world changed. Food grew scarce, the days grew warmer, the sea rose and fell like storms, and the ice began to melt. The mother watched her home disappear. She knew she could not save everyone. With a heavy heart, she placed her youngest cub on a small chunk of ice and kissed her goodbye. Then she sent her off to the lands beyond. The little cub floated for days and nights, sleeping through the waves, until she finally washed ashore. Weak and hungry, she collapsed on the warm sand until a young girl found her. The cub could only lie still, looking up at the worried girl. Are you okay? The girl's eyes filled with tears, but she was no ordinary child. She came from a family of powerful witches. Clasping her hands, she makes a wish. Please, please don't die. Whoosh. The wish worked, and the cub was saved. Adopted by her new human family, she learned about humans, friendship, and even a little magic along the way. And so this is where her story truly begins. And scene. Well, that's my life. Thank you all so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it, because I know I did. All right, yes, that's the lore. That's the lore comic. So basically, the TLDR is that I was originally a polar bear cub, but due to the impacts of global warming and the devastation that causes, basically my polar bear family was not going to survive any longer. So my polar bear mom made a difficult decision to save me because I was like the youngest cub. And so she sent me off to basically, hopefully find a better place to live. And I floated on a sheet of ice for like many, many weeks until I washed ashore onto like land near like the nearest civilization, where I was found by a young girl who happens to be part of a magical family of like wizards and mages, and her magical power enables her to essentially create miracles. So she basically uses her powers to wish for my survival, which in turn turns me into a human being. And so from there, I get taken in by her family and I grew up with them. And then basically in my now like adulthood, I'm now kind of, trying to figure out my own like destiny and stuff. So that's the lore. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it, because I know I did. I did write the entire thing myself, and work with an incredible artist who I will also credit later on. We debuting, that's right. That's right. All right, next step, which, it's always, debuts have to show the debut slides to show you who I really am, like give a little bit more introduction to myself. So I'm gonna go ahead and start my PowerPoint presentation. All right, guys. So nice to meet you. If you're new here, I'm Riku. I'm a polar bear VTuber. My fan name is the Cubs, KUBBS, which is a combination of the last syllable of my name with the word Cubs. And my Oshi marks, of course, are going to be the polar bear emote and the snowflake emote. My nickname is Biku. If you've been around here for a while and you've seen me stream with my friends, you might have heard them call me Biku like multiple times. The reason for that is because it's like a little bit of a nickname that's kind of just sprung from like one of our friends who just like to use it very often. But I think, if we're thinking about this nickname, it could also be like a combination of Bear and Riku. So yeah, if you ever call me Biku, or you hear someone calling me Biku, I respond to it. So it's like a nickname. So my height is 170 centimeters, which is roughly 5'6". My pronouns are she, her, and I also only speak English. Unfortunately, I speak a little bit of Spanish just from like high school Spanish class, but in terms of like actual proficiency and like fluency, it's mostly just English. One of these days, I will make a more active effort to learn a new language. My age, I'm in my 20s, and my species is magical human, which is based off of the lore comic that I just showed. So, my sort of species is very unique, where like I'm not technically a human per se, but I am like a magical like entity, so to speak. So like I have like latent magical powers that will, not even my human family really knows like what the extent of my powers is going to be. But that is to say I do have like magical powers, which will be explored in the future. And then my birthday is February 5th. Next thing that I want to share is the mascot character, guys. So, like I said, the mascots for and the representation of the community is the Cubs, and this is what represents all of you guys. You guys are my Cubs. So, the name for the Cubs is called Cubby, and their birthday is June 13th, which is also the day that I first started streaming, and they're 3 apples tall. That's how tall they are, 3 apples tall. And I will say, when I was putting this slide together, I made sure to like do like a whole like conversion like measurement of like how tall is like 3 apples, and 3 apples tall is like I think like 3 feet. So yeah, you guys are small. You're meant to be able to be carried around. I should make a figurine of Cubby. Well, I would like to get like a plushie of Cubby first. I have ideas for merch at some point that I want to do, but like I think like a plushie of Cubby would be like so amazing. I don't I will not lie. I just went onto the first website I saw on Google, and like I just typed in like how tall is 3 apples tall, and it was like around like 3 2 3 feet or something. So yeah, we're not mathematicians here, okay? Just take my word for it, all right? In terms of the relationship between me and the cub, it's my familiar. So you know how I mentioned that I am like a magical human and I have like magical powers? Well, in my universe, every like witch and like mage has like a familiar that follows them around, and usually it's like a part of their like soul that like impacts like what the familiar is going to be. So obviously I'm a polar bear, so obviously my mascot's going to be a polar bear cub, right? So that's Cubby. Yes, say hi, Cubby. I love Cubby so much. All right, so more about me. So in terms of my likes and interests, I obviously love video games. I wouldn't be a streamer if I didn't like video games. And I also really like esports. Like, if you asked me about like League of Legends esports, Overwatch esports, Valorant esports, fighting games, like I'm really, really big fan of just watching competitive esports, and I have for like many, many years. So it's really like one of my favorite kind of competitive uh what would you say, like circuits, like hobby. I've even been to like a few esports events myself, and I just think it's like so fun. I also like anime, of course. I am an anime girl right now speaking to you. I really like anime. My favorite anime is most definitely Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. And I try to watch like as many new shows as I can. I think my most recent favorite has been Free Ren. I just think that the story and the animation is just like absolutely stunning, and it just makes me like feel a lot more like relaxed, I would say. I also like books. I'm a big bookworm. Um, Fun fact, when I went to, I don't know if this is like just like a US thing, but like usually in like elementary school, they would do like these like yearly science camps. And when you do the science camp, you have to do like, your kind of alias, and usually it has to be like an animal. And mine was bookworm. Even though it's not really an animal, they let me use it. So I really like books. I also like writing. I wrote the lore comic. I like to write. I used to take like creative writing classes in college, and I like to write in my free time, like, you know, I used to write fan fiction just a little bit, but I also think like one of my biggest goals in life at some point is to like publish a novel on my own, because I just feel like I have so many creative ideas and I want to share it with the world. Next thing I like is K-pop. I love K-pop a lot. I just recently watched BTS's concert, and they're like super super awesome, great performers. And I typically listen to like a lot of different K-pop groups and try to keep up with like the newest music as well. So if you ever want to talk about K-pop, let me know because like if you mention a group, I've probably listened to them. Next thing that I'm passionate about is the WNBA. I like basketball in general. Like I watch NBA, but I think in the past couple years, uh, I really really like the WNBA, and my favorite teams include like the New York Liberty, LA Sparks, and Seattle Storm. I just think that it's awesome to see women's sports become way more like popular, and to see like actual like games be sold out is just really like awesome to see. Like I love women and I love women. I love to see women succeed. Next thing I like is ice cream. I have a big sweet tooth. I love sweets. My favorite ice cream flavor is chocolate chip vanilla. I also really like boba milk tea. My favorite flavor is at this point, I would say like a Thai milk tea. Thai milk tea with like half sugar, less ice, and like boba is my favorite thing in the world. I also like iced coffee. I just had one this morning so that I can make sure I don't crash out and like fall unconscious during the stream today. Um, and then next two things, I like vampires. I'm not much of a freak, okay, but I am a freak when it comes to vampires. I have probably I usually say Twilight is what I blame when it comes to my fascination for vampires, but honestly, it was Vampire Night, the one manga series, like Vampire Night, just made me like appreciate hot, sexy anime vampires. And then last thing I like is Yuri. Just to come out and be very transparent and very like honest to myself, I do identify as lesbian, so I'm very LGBTQ, friendly and inclusive. So Yuri is like what I like to consume because I love, romantic relationships between two beautiful women. You will most likely see me simp for like hot characters in my streams. And so I just want to give you a heads up that yeah, we like Yuri here. And anything LGBTQ. All right, moving on to dislikes. I know I've been seeing y'all comment on the dislikes. Don't come at me. These are my personal tastes. So we agree to disagree. Okay, first thing I don't like bugs at all. Like I hate bugs. I mostly hate spiders, but like in general, I hate bugs. Like something got screwed up in the evolutionary tree for bugs to exist in this world. Like they have no purpose aside from giving you diseases, bug bites, and like being a terror to your household. So like take out the bugs. If I had like a wish that I could use, I would wish for all bugs to never exist in this world. Next thing I don't like horror. I'm a really big scaredy cat, and that's mostly because I don't like gore. Like I feel like modern horror these days are very like violent and gory, and I just don't really like gore at all. I feel like super uncomfortable whenever I see anything like that. So you're probably not gonna see me play any like gory horror games, unfortunately. I don't like loud places. I just think that I get like really tired and overwhelmed if I go to like a loud place. I'm totally fine with going to like concerts, and it's not like I don't like to go to loud places, but in terms of like if I had a choice to go to like a loud place, like a festival, or to go to like a beach, or like to go hiking or something, I would choose the latter options. So yeah. I also don't like waiting in line. Like I'm a very impatient person, honestly. So waiting in line, or like waiting like more than like 15 minutes, I like actually get like physically tired. I'm like, this sucks. I hate it. I also don't really like strict schedules, like I'm a very like flexible person, and while I am capable of like sticking to a plan and sticking to a schedule, I don't really like planning out everything to like a T. You know what I mean? Like I really enjoy just like having a bit of spontaneity. Yeah, DMV, I hate it. I hate that place. Worst place in the world, DMV. That or like if it's like a popular like food place, like I hate that shit. The lines always end up being so freaking long. I also don't like rainy days. If you asked me like 10 years ago if I liked rainy days, I would have said yes. But I think now, like, I appreciate like more like bright sunny days like a lot more. Because I just feel like, with rainy days, it's just like harder to do things and it just feels like a bit like stifling. You know what I mean? So, yeah. And then I don't like cold food. I really don't like cold food. Like if I think most foods need to be hot to be enjoyed. And if the food ain't hot, I think it just tastes like way worse. Like cold like spaghetti like being reheated after being in the fridge overnight, like that shit's the worst. Like it's cold in the bottom but like hot on the top. Like it's just terrible. Cold food does not need to exist. Make sure to warm up your food, guys. And then last thing I don't like okra. I think okra is cringe. I think okra is slimy and gross, and the textures are all out of whack. Like actual terrible vegetable. Sorry, okra fans. Sorry. Sorry, guys. I'll give you all my okra if I ever eat them. All my homies hate okra. Yeah, I do too. I'll give my okra to all y'all. All y'all. In terms of my favorite games, I really love Overwatch. I was literally there. I know the exact place that I was when Overwatch was like first revealed back in 2016. I was literally at my one of my best friend's house and I was sitting on her couch and we were just like watching TV, and then like I saw like the video for like the launch trailer on YouTube, when they're going through like the first like 10 heroes, and like I just remembered like being like so in awe of like what the potential this game really had. And to this day I'm still like pretty like obsessed with the game. Not just like the gameplay but also just like the universe, the history, the community. So I love Overwatch. Next thing I like is League of Legends. Also one of my long-standing games that I've been playing for like many, many years. Like I've been playing League since 2013. And like I know it can get like a bad rap sometimes, but there's just something about it that's just like one of a kind, and I really enjoy playing League with my friends like all the time. It's like the most fun that I ever have whenever I'm playing games. So League of Legends definitely one of my darlings. I also really love Pokemon. Been such a huge Pokemon fan since I was a young kid. My favorite Pokemon is Pikachu. There's just something about Pikachu that like always resonates with me because I think Pikachu is like super cute, and my mom in particular, she would always give me like Pikachu like plushies and like merchandise as like gifts when I was like a kid, and so I just feel like very connected to it because of how much it reminds me of like my mom. My next favorite game is Fire Emblem. Huge Fire Emblem fan, one of my favorite JRPGs of all time. In general, I really like to play JRPGs. I just think that they're one of the most like unique gaming experiences you can ever have if you like more single player games. And like so Fire Emblem I think is like super fun because it's basically just like anime chess. Yeah, I'm very excited for the next game coming out soon. My next favorite game is Clair Obscur Expedition 33. I played that game last year, like when it came out, and my first expectations was like, oh, it's probably not gonna be like that good. Like it's probably gonna be just like a Final Fantasy clone, whatever, whatever. And then I played it, and then in the first like 30 minutes, when they had like that really like crazy prologue, I was like, this is gonna get good. This is gonna get really good, and it did. Like everything from just the story, the combat, the music, like overall, it was like really a complete package. And what I think was like the best part of that game too was that it didn't try to drag anything on. Like the story felt like the pacing was really good. It felt very self-contained, and I feel like it was just like the perfect experience wrapped up into like what 40 hours of gameplay. Like I love games that aren't like too long. So it was perfect. I highly recommend anyone who likes story driven RPGs to play that one. It's really good. And then my last favorite game here is Life is Strange. I really like choice-based games too, and I think when it comes to choice-based games, I always recommend Life is Strange, especially because the setting is just very immersive because it's like very based in real life, and yeah, like emotionally, it does emotional damage. It truly did emotional damage to me, and I just like the fact that it's very based on like not only like girl friendships but also like queer relationships too. Like it's a very like sweet, well, not sweet, but more of like a very like heartfelt, profound story that I really enjoy. So those are my recommendations. Next slide is the community slide. So just to give a bit more background on like, tags that you should use on social media relating to me and this community. So my general tag is hashtag Riku Bear. You can use that for anything that's like, content, clips, fan art, whatever. That's the general tag. My art tag is Riku Beart, which is just Riku Bear art put together into one word. So Riku Beart. Yeah. Okay. My live hashtag is hashtag Riku Bear on air. So whenever I'm going live, that's what I'm going to use. Riku Bear on air. And then my last one is hashtag Riku Bear clips for, if anyone wants to do some clip moments and post on social media, that's the one that I'm going to use. So in terms of, what you should expect here if you find yourself in, my community, is that I do pretty much like a lot of variety gaming. Like I never play the same game twice in a week. I really try to switch it up. Because I think it's just like more interesting to play like a variety of games and try different things. And so far, I think everyone's really enjoyed it, and I really appreciate the fact that y'all are patient with me and are open to watching all kinds of gameplay. And I hopefully get to showcase different types of games and even showcase more indie games. I think that would be super awesome. I also like to play competitive games. So like I mentioned, I play Overwatch and League of Legends, and I tend to get pretty competitive in those games and definitely want to, try to my best to win. So I really am able to kind of toe the line between silly, more lighthearted moments and the more like lock-in moments, right? So if I ever play like League or Overwatch, you can expect me to try my best to win, unless I'm playing just a casual game with my friends. So. Next thing I like story-driven games. So, I mentioned E33 and Life is Strange earlier. I want to play more games like that for sure. Like I just started playing Persona 3 Reload the other day, and so far it's been really great. And I just want to play like more story-driven games. Like it's just basically like reading a book, but also playing it too. So I really enjoy story-driven games. And then the last thing I think that's super unique about my community is just, cozy, chill vibes. I'm a very chill person, very down to earth person, like I try to be very like thoughtful and try to be a very good listener to all the fine folks here. And I just like to have like really nice conversations. So if that's like your style and you just want to like hang out and chill and just, you know, have a good chat, then I'm always here for that. I do my best to be, as welcoming as possible. And I think just by my core, I'm just a very chill person. Chill vibes. That's why I'm a polar bear. All right. I think this is the second to last slide. So now we're going to talk about my goals, okay? So these are split between like short-term goals, which I want to achieve within the next 1 to 2 years, and then long-term goals, which I want to achieve within like the next 5 at least. So for the short-term goals, I want to reach 700 to 1,000 Twitch followers by the end of the year, which I feel is very doable. And then for average viewers, I want to obtain like 10 average viewers by the end of the year. In terms of social media, I want to really aim to post pretty frequently on social media. So far this month, I've been doing a good job posting pretty much daily. if you've seen like my TikToks and like YouTube videos, Instagram shorts and stuff. So I want to just continue that momentum and just to really put myself out there and, make some really fun content. I also want to, take YouTube more seriously and try to at least post like one long form video on YouTube monthly. It's gonna be definitely a fun challenge to undertake because, I've been someone who's loved to watch YouTube videos, but, in terms of making one myself, I've never really thought about what that would look like, But I want to challenge myself to really try to do that and just, kind of grow in that regard. And then for another short-term goal is just to better utilize streaming tools and plugins. I'm not the most like technically savvy person, and I think I can do like a better job of like utilizing more platform tools, third-party tools, just to make the streams like more fun, more interactive. So I'm gonna try to spend some time to like teach myself how to use them more effectively, experiment with different tools, and just make the streams like way more smoother. Okay, in terms of long-term goals, again, this is like within the next 5 years. So first things first, I want to improve my video editing skills. Like I think I see the potential to become a way better video editor, and I just really want to enhance my skills way better so that I can just be more self-sufficient and create like the best content I possibly can. And, I want to get better at just editing and improving the quality of my content so that way it's more cool, exciting, and just entertaining. My next goal is to really discover and invest in my creator niche. So right now, at this very moment, I don't think I've really come to pinpoint what exactly my niche is. I think I'm still trying to really figure that out and like figure out what, you know, I'm most I guess interested in and like good at and like what sort of games are not only like resonating with me but also resonating with my community. I think I'm still trying to figure that out, and I feel like once I do, it'll just make everything overall like that much more clearer to me and like a much more streamlined because I'll be able to really focus my efforts into, you know, the right content, so to speak. Next thing to note here is, making streams more interactive while respecting my comfort level. So this kind of ties into like the streaming tools and plugin stuff, but just in general too, like, in terms of things that I can do on stream, like what can I do to make them more interactive? Like, doing more like challenges or having different redeems or just trying to find ways to interact more with the community. Like I'm trying my best to really note that down and find ways to do that while also respecting my comfort level. Mostly because I am like very introverted and like very shy, and at the end of the day I'm still like talking to people on the internet sometimes, so I'm very just like very introverted and like shy about like making connections on the internet sometimes. But I want to do my best to be more interactive with you guys and try to make it more fun so that you can get to know me more and like get to have more fun with me. um Next thing I want to do in the next 5 years, I want to organize a charity stream. Like I, one of my hopes for like streaming overall is to make a positive impact on the world, and I feel like to do that, or one of the ways I can do that is to like give to charity and like charitable causes, and in what I envision for my next my in the future like charity stream, I would love to give to like an environmental organization that could like help with like sea life conservation, or on the other hand, maybe donating to like an LGBTQ plus organization like the Trevor Project, just to give back to queer people, queer youth. So at some point I want to do that, and I hope to have your guys' support when it gets to that point. Next goal, I'm sure every streamer wants to achieve this, but to become a Twitch and YouTube partner. I think, I really envision myself doing this content and streaming stuff long term. And I really want to just like go above and beyond and like go as far as I can. And getting Twitch and YouTube partner would be like a great like first accomplishment for me. Next thing I want to do is secure a brand partnership. There's like so many brands that I'd love to like work with. I think in like the first one that comes to mind, I would love to work with like a peripheral company like Logitech, or also like like a clothing brand of sorts, because I think having like a clothing collaboration with like, I don't know, like a rough example, like Gap or something, like Gap or like Uniqlo or something like that. Like just doing a collaboration with like a clothing brand and like having like a Riku like clothing line would be so cool. Um, and in terms of like merchandise, I definitely do want to release merchandise too at some point. Like the hat is the first thing that I want to make merchandise about, because it's kind of like my signature like outfit piece. But I also want to make like shirts and like my jacket and like a crossbody bag. Like I love bags. Like a crossbody bag with like my logo on it would be so cool. And then the last thing, this is like a very, very aspirational goal. And I would love to become a full-time streamer. Like I think that would be like super awesome. Like as much as I love my current job and I love my profession, like if it gets to the point where I get like, I grow enough that this becomes like a sustainable thing, like I will definitely like dial in. I will lock in. I will embrace it if it happens to that point, like, and if that ever happens, I just want to, be a force for good and be a positive impact on people. So yeah, those are my goals. And then the last thing is just the credits and thank yous. So, this model and all like my branding stuff and my emotes, there's all been like a great selection of people who have helped me get to this point. So first things first, I want to give credit to Bunny Lily, who they made my concept art, they made my PNG tuber model, they made my mascot design, and they also made a few of my emotes. So, they've been here since day one, basically. When I first decided to become a streamer, I worked with them and I really, really like their art style. And they're such a very awesome person and a very like creative person, very talented. And it's because of them that I've been able to, really become this VTuber that you see because they're the ones who, made the blueprint. They made my DNA. So credits to them. They're awesome. And then for my Live to the art and rig, it was done by this Japanese artist named Jiro 2D. So they're super talented. They did the art and they did the rigging. So they basically did the whole thing and they were super super awesome to work with as well. Very very like communicative, very open to feedback and I think like the end result just ended up being super super awesome. So shout out to them. Everything, guys. That's the whole presentation I had prepared today. Thank you so much to all the artists and friends who have helped make this debut a reality. Like from the branding and like the designs and like also just the models and stuff. Like this is all just really a group effort, and I was just like very nervous for all this stuff to come together, but honestly, it was so seamless. It was like basically no challenges whatsoever. All I had to really do was just to hit live button and show you all what I had saved and prepared. Um, but yeah, that's me. That's Riku VT. Um, thank you guys. Thank you all so much for. No, I'm not gonna end stream there, but I'm just like. Oh, it's just, I can't believe that I finally gone to this moment where, yeah, now it's like this model that I have and, you know, now I can just keep moving and grooving and to be more expressive and seeing the chat. I've been following along the chat too while I've been presenting, guys. So sorry if I wasn't getting to each message individually, but like I've been following along with the chat and just seeing like the outpouring of love from all of you. And I'm trying to not break out into tears because it just means so much to have such a wonderful like community around me to cheer me on like this, because it's nerve-wracking, like debuting and like streaming and like putting yourself out there, like it's a lot for just one silly gal on the internet. And I'm so lucky and grateful to have met such an awesome community of folks in like my first year of streaming. And I just want to say, like, from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much for being here with me and for really believing in me. Like, I just think that this year has been super incredible, and I don't take any day for granted, really. Like, I think, I want to just do my best to put on a good show, create a great community, and become the best streamer that I possibly can be. And I'm very looking forward to having you all along the ride as well. So, well, that's my life. Thanks so much for coming to listen to my story.